Good morning, friends. Hello. Glad you are here. Glad you're a part of the journey today, where we're on a field trip. So hope you are doing well, and that this day finds you in beauty and in truth. Hope you're having a great day. Uh, how are you today? Hello, hello. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hi, John. Good morning to you. So I do have your mail. I'm sorting through it. I haven't opened it yet because I set it down and then I ran off to something else. It's been those kind of days today, so I'm gonna get into it today. I promise it'll be awesome. Uh, Good morning, Karen. Hello, hello. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Been great. Been busy days lately, so I hope everybody's doing all right. Uh, your days are seem a little smoother than mine. So great. I'm glad you are well. Good morning, everybody. So glad you're being a part of the journey here. So we're out here in the gray today, which seems appropriate for this Ash Wednesday. That we're not just out here in the bearing yard, but we're in the bearing ground, but that we are a part of a wider journey and a wider life together. So, so we're doing. Good morning, everybody. Little guy in the dump truck working, going by, all kinds of good stuff here. So this is this is why we're live. So good morning, and glad you're all a part of this journey. We're gonna we're gonna get going this morning. That good morning, Vicky. Glad you're here. That I pray you're all well and doing good. Good morning. So hey, Donna. Good morning to you. Glad you're here. I just hope today finds you well. Good to good to see everyone and all the journeying that we do together here. So, all right, let's get going. It is this day, 22nd day of February in 2023. So it is 2/22/23. I don't know if that might mean something. Probably doesn't. But what in the wider calendar, what it more means is that today is Ash Wednesday. Yesterday we spoke about what it is, what the journey of Fat Tuesday brought us out of this feast of Ash Wednesday, and today is the day in the traditional calendar in which it is both the traditional beginning of Lent. Of the Lenten season, the 40 days that approach Easter, of this time of preparation, but also this day which is specifically set aside for the remembering of our mortality. And so, what better place to do that than to come to the burying ground? I'm here at the burying ground in Westport. That we might have that we might simply remind ourselves that the great and grand and terrifying reality that it comes out of the third chapter of Genesis in verse 19. From dust you were created, to dust you shall return. That we have so many days on this earth, and that having life breathed into us from the one who made us, and we will one day return to that source, and that this is the heart of what this day is about. But we often the problem is that actually gets skipped over a little bit. Is that there's actually a whole verse there that to 319 that it's is doesn't always get quoted in the right that will be spoken in churches all over the place today, that where you all will often hear with the imposition of ashes on the forehead, as our Catholic brothers and sisters will do, that to dust you were created, and from dust you were created, and to dust you shall return. But there's actually more to it than that, and it actually doesn't even make sense if you don't read the whole thing. So let's do that. Um, so it starts. You will toil from the ground for your food, for from dust you were created, and to dust you shall return. Well, now, we read that, and our initial, good 21st century reaction to that is, well, what? Like, why are these two things together? Why is food, why is a Big Mac and dust kind of put together? Now, obviously, Big Macs grow out of the ground. Not that it's a Big Mac tree, but you know how it gets. There's a process, but it gets there. The origin point is always the same. And this notion that you'll toil from the ground, that obviously this kind of agricultural reality in which the ancients found themselves, in which we find ourselves too. We just happen to wrap it in cellophane now and styrofoam, but it's still the same reality. But it's actually deeper than that, because this notion of from dust you were created, and to dust you shall return, because you, there is related to food. Well, why is it our mortality related to food? Well, first, if you don't have a sandwich, you're not going to last long. We all know that. Like, there's a reality that, in fact, our lifeblood is connected to our eating. Some of us more than others. But that it is, in fact, that if we don't take in sustenance over time, we will in fact die. I mean, that's the first thing. But it actually is much deeper than that, because food is the thing that, if we look at our most central ritual that we do in taking of communion, it is what? Food. It's a meal. And in fact, one of the things that we miss in the wider realm of reading Bible and reading Scripture, but also the foundation of the ancient world, or even any pre-modern world, but even the world that we live in today, we just don't name it this way, that it's still a reality, is that a sacrifice is always food. A sacrifice is always a meal. A sacrifice is always a gathered meal. Now, this is part of one of I think, the brilliance of what we do in the congregational way of being Christian, is this understanding that the emphasis on fellowship, the emphasis on the casserole dish, the emphasis on the coming together to eat. This is not. And you think about this as like, oh, we're just people who like food, or we're just people who like fellowship, or we just like to hang out with each other and talk about the ball game. That's not it. It is that the gathering around food is some of the most sacred things we do in life, and that in fact it is the very lived reality of what Paul talks about when he talks about let your life become a living sacrifice. That we actually are living sacrifices. We are all people walking around this world looking in search of a meal, looking in search of a place in which to stand ourselves and to place ourselves and to plant ourselves, in which we find a life and a grace and a being, just like all these people behind me, that they had a meal in which was a part of their lives. And those were the most beautiful and wondrous and maybe most stunning moments of their lives. They were people who had itchy noses. They sang beautifully, maybe on key or maybe off key. They were people who had wants and hopes and dreams, that their living sacrifice was a part of the days. Are you beginning to see now why at the heart of the the Ash Wednesday remembrance, or of the Lenten remembrance, this preparation time that comes for Easter, at the heart of that is what? Fasting. Because the thing is we stay away. We withdraw from the meal. We withdraw from the sacrifice. We withdraw from the engagement so that we might see things clearly. From the ground you will toil, and 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 gain your food, because from dust you were created, and from dust you shall return. Are you seeing it? Is it there? Can you get why I'm standing out here in 36 degrees, and I met some friends of mine that are even colder than that. That we're in this, that we journey through this life, and we're in this life as a part of a holy meal. That every day and every hour and every bit is this grand feast that is displayed before us. We come in contact with it when we come to the meal, in when we come to a meal, and that in that meal is sacrifice. It's something to consider. That every sacrifice you've ever heard of, every every sacrifice is always a meal. The ancients, when they came to sit with their gods, came to feast with them. You see it. You see it. You see it still. There's still legacy pieces of it. Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, where people kind of bring the lawn chairs and a meal, and they go hang out with the dead. That's it's always a meal. Sacrifice is always a meal. The generation of our very food is this notion that links us to our mortality, not for the simple reason that we're going to miss out on it, that if we don't get a sandwich, we're not going to last long, but for the fact that it is always the place of communion. It's always the place of the remembrance of our lives as a living sacrifice, as our lives of something beautiful and glorious to be celebrated in every moment, in every way, in every being. That we come here among our friends who came before us, so that we might remember that we labor not alone, but we labor at the great feast table of God. That we labor surrounded by the saints. That we labor in this Ash Wednesday of remembering the great feast of which we're always and constantly a part of. It's not simply oh, remember you're going to die. It is actually remember that you are profoundly a part of the most beautiful, living, rambling feast that has ever been assembled in all of creation. And that goes on from generation to generation to generation. This is the invitation of this Ash Wednesday day that will, as we look at, so as you go about your day and you see your Catholic brothers and sisters, out there, with their little ashes on their heads, buy them a Happy Meal. Like, give them a snack. Give them some crackers, because it is a meal that they come to participate in. It is the feast of creation in which they come to pull apart the veil just a little bit, to peek into the kitchen about all the good things that are being prepared for each one of us. So, friends, as we keep this feast today, it is my hope that you will see and know the love of God in your life with this, in this feasting. Not in that in the living and in the dying and in everything in between. Because the thing that almost all of these headstones behind me that are arrayed generations to generations, years upon years, centuries upon centuries, all have in common, most of them have a birth date, and most of them have a death date, and most of them have a dash in between. That dash makes up every piece of living and dying and loving and falling down and getting up and despair and wonder and joy that person ever endured, so too on this Ash Wednesday, we have our dash to contemplate. What will our little scratch in the granite say to those who came before us? What will the table that we set for those around us feast of? Will it be honey and sweetness? Will it be vinegar and poison? Will it be the very nectar that God would offer us all in coming to be with us as we might feast together? Ha ha, Kristen, perfect. And so, yeah, I invite you. That's perfect. I invite you today to stop thinking about it as Ash Wednesday and start thinking about it as Dash Wednesday. But that's some beautiful mastermind right there, because that is truly what it is. It is a meal and a feast among friends that will last however many years God has given each of us to come and to lift a glass and to raise some bread and to feast among the living and the love that God has given us. All right, my friends, peace and grace to you. Kristen for the save today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you keep your hold your mortality before you, because it is the one thing that tells us the preciousness of this journey, and that the feasting never stops. We'll pick it up tomorrow as we step into the first day of Lent on at 11:11. Peace and grace to you, my friends. So glad you're all here. Jean, let's see who I just want to before we go. Jean, Jamie, hi, glad to see you. Linda, hey, you made it. Good to see you. Jean, wonderful. Kristen, Cecile, hello. I don't think I said hi to you. Welcome, welcome everybody. So glad you're all here. Peace and grace, my friends. We'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11. Happy Dash Wednesday.